Oh man, you guys. I was running late today. So sorry about that. Welcome to Mr. Jackson's Peanut Butter Hour. Everybody hop on. I have some serious work that I got to do today. And that is to build this racetrack in Minecraft. But I also want to talk to you guys about Destiny because I posted my Destiny video and I want to take general questions. Right? Bold move, right? So I want to take some of your general questions and I also want to talk about your views of Destiny. But before we get into all of that, it is Mr. Jackson's Peanut Butter Hour. So make sure you have your peanut butter. Get a big old spoonful. This one's all soggy. That's great. It is my favorite peanut butter though. And this peanut butter is actually brought to you by Blue. None other than Blue, which gifted me this amazing peanut butter. It is my favorite. Oh, because I didn't change the title yet. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. And now I can't edit it. I'll have to edit it after the fact. Oh, no, I can edit it right now. Mr. Jackson's Peanut Butter Hour. Destiny. 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 Now I can be like, what do you mean, Gold? It doesn't say that. You say that. You're just coming out of nowhere. You interrupted me from eating my peanut butter during Peanut Butter Hour. Tisk tisk. So today we're going to be talking about some concepts of destiny. How much of your life do you think is predetermined, and how much of your life do you think you really get to choose? Now, John, you were in my class. Just get the plug-in up. Okay. Hi, Brianna. I'm afraid that if I get the plugin set up on this, that it will destroy my world. And before that whole thing happens, I want to finish my racetrack. So, my question for you guys that I want you guys to answer, okay, Tommy, okay. And if you want to get onto the voice chat on Discord, you can actually answer there as well. I'm in general Discord chat. And so if you want to talk to me about Destiny, what are your views on Destiny? How much of your life do you think is predetermined? That's cool. Community is awesome. How much of your life do you think is predetermined? How much of your life do you think that you really get to choose? And if you watched my video, you'll know a little bit of my basis for understanding this, right? Which is that a lot of what we do in this world is determined by the context in which we were born and the people that we are surrounded by. So for all of my honors students out there, hola! For all of my honors students, I want you guys to think very much about why it is that you're in an honors class and somebody else isn't in an honors class. What is it that makes you uniquely qualified to be in that honors class? Was it simply a choice that you made, or was it something about the context in which you're in that made you more of an honors student? So hop in, answer that question. I've already talked to Tommy about this a little bit, so maybe I can get his input as well, if anybody wants to join in on the voice chat.
Speaking of Tommy.
Oh my gosh, it is the Tommy. You're just going to come
Jackson,
in here.
I swear if you finish that racetrack, you have to do it in survival. This is the survival world.
No.
You're making a huge racetrack.
This is the survival world? You're going to delete all the things that weren't made under survival?
Were you going to delete all the things that were made in survival that took way more time?
No, I didn't think that would be mutually exclusive. I thought that we could create a boundary in which when somebody walks across that boundary, they now are forced into survival mode.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to have to find a plugin that enforces that boundary.
Right?
Which will probably be easy.
I would hope so. Kenna, why don't you get onto the Discord and you can chat with the famous Tommy. And with me. But yeah, it is Tommy.
And with me.
And with Gold!
And like the peanut butter.
And with Blue! I like that there are so many people whose names are colors.
Yay.
So with this,
And I'm brown.
do you guys have answers to my questions about Destiny?
No, but if we get my sister on the stream, you'll have a third color.
What color is your sister?
Brown.
She's Sienna.
She's Sienna. Oh, that's awesome. Tommy is trying to dismiss the amount of work that I put in to this lovely racetrack and telling me it's not actually grinding. When I am here,
Jackson, it's not grinding.
I am
It is
clicking
not grinding at
away.
all. Mr. Jackson, it's
can
like
hear.
the thing about survival is it's pseudo free will, right? You have the free will to create whatever you want within the boundaries of you need to grind for the materials of it. Me, Daniel, and our friend Matthew, we grinded for hours and hours to get all the wood. If we could have made it out of all diamonds. You know, creative is your perfect free will because you can do whatever the heck you want. If you want
See,
to make something out of diamonds, you can.
that's exactly what I'm saying. Creative is more of an example of free will, right? So I don't have limitations that structure my free will. Clicks faster and more intensely. The thing is, our confines, our context that we're in, determines whether or not we have free will. So imagine that, for instance, I'm in creative mode and you're in survival mode, but it's real life, right? Can somebody get Kenna onto the Discord server?
I don't think she has Discord, but McKenna, you can download Discord and join the server with like a couple clicks on your phone.
Yeah, get Discord on your
There's
phone.
also a website. And I don't know how to send the link, but I'm sure if you look up, I think it's Jackman's Boys, you should be able to find it.
Oh, cool. She's on the computer. If you have a PC, it's really
Yeah.
easy. Mac always has a little bit of trouble, but I have a Mac and it worked just fine. So, going back to this idea of you have two different types of Minecraft servers. You actually have four, but you have two different types of Minecraft servers. You have a creative server and you have a survival server, right? In a survival server, you have a context in which there is adversity. There are people who are trying to stop you from doing something, right? So if I build my thing right next to somebody who is in a creative world, which is what our big debate is right now, right? Whether or not that invalidates the work that you put in, right? I am capable as a creative player of doing far more than you are, right?
Yes.
Is that fair to say? Like, I'm building a
That's
racetrack
definitely
right
fair
now,
to- Yeah, that's
and
definitely fair to say.
I don't have to go mine for any of it. I just immediately like click a button and I get ice, right? How is that different than somebody that's born into wealth? Any
It's
answers?
not.
It's not different? Because to me, somebody who's born into wealth has fewer restrictions and therefore is capable of doing more, right? However, I'm on the server. In this case, today, I've been on the server far more hours than I care to admit and far more hours than I'm going to tell Miss Ely about. And so I'm sitting here, I'm clicking, I'm flying, I'm clicking, I'm building something massive. I'm very proud of the work that I put in. And this is the same thing that we got from Oscar when he talked about his Avengers Tower. If you guys haven't seen his Avengers Tower, it's pretty impressive, right? Now, an Avengers Tower built in creative, is it not difficult to build that Avengers Tower?
No,
Is-
I mean, there's definitely blueprints that you need to follow to build something like that, and it's very complex. But if we're talking about if it's difficult, you get to fly, you get to place things that are normally really hard. Like I'm building a tower of my own right now, and just scaling up that tower each time makes me use more materials than you would use actually building, anyways. So,
So,
there's just
what you
it might
immediately went
still be
into,
hard.
to make it back into that conversation about Destiny, what you immediately went into is that your context makes it more difficult. But my question was only, is it not difficult within my context?
Is.
Right? It still requires effort, and I'm putting in a maximum amount of effort. There's no more effort than I can put in than what I'm doing right now. I'm fully engaged in the activity, and I'm building something that's far beyond what you would be able to do, even if you put in multiple days worth of effort, right?
And thinking about the analogy that Mr. Jackson had with the being born into wealth and not being born into wealth,
Yeah.
there's certain people on the server that go into creative and all they do is just fly around, hit people, spy on people, destroy things.
Yeah, it's me whenever Tommy's on the server.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that are in creative, like Oscar, that used it to build what he wanted to build.
Right.
And he's using it to add to the community.
And I would say you look at Tree Person, and what he did when he built an entire quack hawk, right? He built a quack hawk and it was an artistic expression. Now, doing a quack hawk in survival is a whole nother beast, right? And yes, there might be added benefit to that. So now we have two people. Let's imagine that they're building the exact same thing, but one's in survival and one's in creative.
Okay.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody else?
Came real quick.
Somebody should build Pickle Jackson. That's true. You should play Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Who is that? Is that music?
Okay, so Getting Over It is what's known as a rage game.
Oh, really?
And basically, yeah, it's hard. If you go on to foddy.net, you can find it and you can download it. And basically what you do is you're a guy in a cauldron with a sledgehammer, and you need to climb an array of things that are stacked onto each other.
We will definitely check that out. Maybe we'll do that for tonight's stream. But I've really got to finish this racetrack, because if I don't finish this racetrack, I'm going to just go insane. I set a goal for myself, and I was like, it's either build a racetrack or try and do that TikTok dance again, and you know what won. It was the racetrack. Because that TikTok dance is hard. So...
No, yeah.
We can get to a conversation about the TikTok dance in a second, but in this idea of destiny, as we're looking at it, if I build the exact same thing next to somebody who built it in creative, right? In our world, if we say it's a meritocracy, then we don't account for the fact that one person's in creative and one person's in survival. We don't account for the context. We only account for the outcome. Right? So we look at somebody and we say, this is really good music. I really like the music that this person creates. So I'm going to sell their records and more people are going to buy their records and therefore they're going to become famous. The fact that they came from a family that was indoctrinated in music, the fact that they came from a family that was wealthy and had connections, famously Taylor Swift's father helped her get started in the music industry. That's not accounted for. Only the outcome is accounted for. And you would say, and I think you're fair in saying this, Tommy, that that's unjust, right?
Yes.
But that, for the most part, is our view on meritocracy. The idea that, like, somebody's outcome, whatever they created, is what they should be judged by, right? Do you think that you should be judged by the work that you do?
Yeah, I think the overall work that you do should be accounted for.
And that should be the main way in which we determine somebody's, like, value, right?
Like, this is a weird topic. I don't know if I could determine anyone's value.
It is difficult. But that's what we've been talking about all year, isn't it? Right? We talked about how technology changes the way we value human beings. We talked about how human connection is essential. We talked about how... in fascism, how our political structures change the way that we value human beings, right? So everything has been focused on that one central question of, like, how do we determine a human's value in a way that is ethical or that is right, right? And you're right now saying, Mr. Jackson, what you're doing is unethical. You have created a system in which some people have a leg up and some people don't. Right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, for sure.
And you're saying I should be judged by my effort, not by my outcomes.
Yeah.
Right? What's more valuable, how much work a person does or how hard the work the person does is, right? So, and I would say, to rephrase that, what's more valuable, the amount of work somebody puts in, the amount of time that it takes for somebody to put it in, or the actual outcome. So thinking about it within the context of this terrible situation that we're in, right? I need 1 million more medical masks. Should I value the person who makes 700,000 over the person who makes 300,000? Should I value them based on the amount of masks that they create?
Well, it's situational based. One might have a factory in which they can create way more at a faster rate, and the other person might just be using a single 3D printer, like some cases in New York.
So I think about it this way. We go around, we call some people heroes because of the efforts that they're putting in, but can we really determine whether or not somebody is heroic without first understanding fully what their context is, right? That if that person is incapable of providing help in that specific situation. For instance, I have no factories, I have no 3D printers, I have a sewing machine, but I don't really know how to use it. If I drop everything, you could. That'd be great, Blue. If I drop everything and just learn how to sew, then I would be a hero. In the situation, I'm providing masks for people when people need masks, right? But in the same way, somebody who has a giant company or has a significant amount of wealth, like Jeff Bezos famously today, it was reported that he gave, I think it was 10 million, maybe $100 million to food banks, which sounds just great. I could never give that much money. But percentage-wise, that's a fraction, like a tiny, tiny fraction of how much wealth he has, and especially when it comes to disposable income, right? So the amount of effort that he put in, it's like he's playing in creative mode. Exactly, Jackson Wood. Exactly. And if he's playing in creative mode and I'm playing in survival mode, then it's not fair for me to say, wow, he did this great thing. However, when the food bank receives the $10 million, they're not sitting there like, yeah, screw this guy, he could have given us more. That would have been ungrateful. You guys getting what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, because you started talking about like a fraction of his like disposable income that he gave to the food bank, and I actually was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, I honestly couldn't care how much Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, whoever, some ex-billionaire gives to whatever cause. They're still giving to a cause because they can, and right. I still find that noble. Now, you don't need to. I think it's less of a like, oh, you have this much money, and it's more, or you have this much money, thus you're less valuable, and it's right. more like, because you have a broader sphere of influence, that's why you may seem more valuable. So right. It's not necessarily like, you're not as good as this one, so you're not good. Like, cause that's dumb. That's stupid to think. And if we all thought that way, we'd all be like crying just 24/7 because we would never feel good enough. And I mean, sure, people live with that already. But could you imagine if we held them to Jeff Bezos' standards since they were born? And it's like, right. Oh, you're like 3 years old and you're not running a multi-billion-dollar company?
Right.
What the hell is wrong with you? So it's, yeah, again, like I said, it's not necessarily about you're more valued as a person. It's more, there's more people to value you because you're out there. Your sphere of influence is just broader.
And let's look at, because you mentioned Bill Gates as one of those billionaires. He was previously the wealthiest person alive before Jeff Bezos came and dethroned him, and before he gave a lot of that wealth away, right? It's really funny because Outliers actually examines him as one of the outliers, and it talks about the situation, the circumstances which he came from that allowed him the opportunities that he had. One of the simplest things was he grew up in Washington at the time when supercomputers would take up an entire room. So if you wanted to learn how to code, you had to be close to one of those supercomputers, and they had to be basically taking up the entire space of somebody's house, right? Like, the number of people who would have access to that sort of thing was relatively zero. In fact, it was only basically 4 people. And those 4 people all happened to go to school at a private high school in Washington, just outside of the University of Washington, where one of those supercomputers was housed, because they had a computer that connected to the supercomputer with a wire that ran all the way to the University of Washington. They were a private school, so they were able to do that. They had the funds to do it, and the computer club that had access to that computer only had 4 students in it. You don't go to a school like that. You don't go to a school that has access to those same sort of things. Can I expect you to have the same sort of outcome as somebody like Bill Gates?
No, but I guess that's more of other people's fault, not necessarily my own, where it's like you've expected this thing out of me, which is impossible for me. I don't have the ability to do this. Why would you expect this from me?
So we have restrictions in place, right? There are restrictions because of our context.
Yeah, like physical restrictions too. Like it's not even meant like because I might be capable. I don't know. I don't work with computers a lot, although I did put in that new graphics card thing, which made me feel good.
Right? And you did what you could with what you had.
Yeah.
There's a famous C.S. Lewis quote that talks about this that is basically in reference to the fact that we aren't God and we won't ever understand fully the raw materials that somebody is made with. Nobody knows entirely the context which you come from, and therefore nobody has the ability to properly judge the efforts that you've put in. I don't know if you're in creative mode or in survival mode. And if I don't know whether you're in creative mode or survival mode, I can't look at your outcomes and judge them for the value that they've created. Because if I say, wow, look at Mr. Jackson, he built this whole NASCAR track, but he was in creative mode, that doesn't really count as much as the amount of work that is being put in by Daniel and Tommy because they're in survivor mode. But my thing is adding more value to a larger number of people because more people have access to it, right? Or you start getting into all of the intricacies of basically what is determined as valuable and how we determine it as valuable, that it gets to a point where you have to say, guess what? This is really outside of my pay grade. I have no ability as an average human being of determining whether or not somebody is smart, whether or not somebody is strong, whether or not somebody is good or evil. I can only say that within their context, I hope that they're doing the best that they can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, just give me a minute to like analyze.
So as we're thinking about that, I want to talk about how that plays into this concept of destiny, right? If there is so much that context determines about whether or not we're valued in our society, right? You think about like somebody who's a pro football player who makes a lot of money. The reason why they're in that context is because of so many things that are outside of their control. Somebody was hypothetically, get out of my face, you squid. They were hypothetically in a position where genetically they were more capable. Maybe they're a very large person and so they're good at being a linebacker, right? Maybe their family gave them training or access to sports earlier than another family, right? Like, I'm 6'3". There's no reason why I couldn't be a relatively decent football player, but I went to a school where there were no sports. So the chances of me personally becoming a decent football player were zero, right? Was it destiny that I had access to that type of schooling? And how much of that is really my free will? I like to think of myself as a poet because of my own efforts that I put in, but really there were so many choices that were made for me that put me in that position. The biggest one being my parents moved to California, and I had no say in that. My parents moved to California because my dad lost his job in Kentucky and a job opened up, right? Like, all of that was outside of my control. It's all if they do club or rec sports. Absolutely. Alora, if you watched the video I posted about Destiny today, I mentioned that in terms of hockey and in soccer, that people who get into club and rec sports oftentimes are people who performed well in the first place, and those people usually are the older people on the team. Like, the only thing that determines whether or not they're better at it isn't that they have an innate skill, it's that they were 4 when everyone else was 3, right? Like, having somebody who's bigger, stronger, more developed has a big impact. Kenna, are you struggling to get onto the Discord? Or are you struggling to understand all my gibberish while I'm building a NASCAR
I've been trying to
track?
help her out. I don't know what's going on with Kenna.
I mean,
Find one.
What kind of
2,
computer are you
3
using, Kenna?
steps are really easy.
What?
Fine, just giving it in like 1, 2, 3 steps is really nice. That, or if you can find the link somewhere.
No,
I'm
she
sure
has
the link.
You got it on your
She
phone.
just doesn't know how to like go onto voice chat.
Okay, okay. Did you tell her to go into the welcome and not the welcome, the rules, and to click the emoji?
Oh no, I forgot about that.
Okay, yeah, you got to tell her to do that. Let me see.
Yeah,
Kenna,
that's annoying.
I can just add a role for her, make it easier. Now she's a student. Okay, now tell her to click on that voice chat. It should be available to her now.
Yeah, Blue.
When you went into the Nether, did you find like a stronghold? Is that what it's called?
No, that's not what it's called.
Another fortress.
Oh yeah. Did you find any?
Blue, my nether and your nether are not the same things because
Really?
I live so far away that it's totally disconnected.
Oh.
He's flexing that he lives far away. And look at me, I had to walk the whole
Have
way
you
in
found it, though?
survival.
We live far away because we were scared that you were gonna come after us, and you still did.
Yeah, because I can teleport, bro. Can't run from God.
Exactly.
It's because I've opened this can of worms that is just not good.
Well, and I would say,
Never mind.
Tommy at all.
so thinking
Or
about
a
this,
couple days
you've
ago.
got, Tommy, how long have you been playing Minecraft?
I would say like maybe first grade. So
Since
like
first
9 years.
grade. In first grade, when I was in first grade, there was no Minecraft. There wasn't even Pokemon yet on the Game Boy, right? Like, the first Pokemon hadn't come out when I was in first grade, right?
Back in my day.
I had an Atari. I had an Atari because my older brothers had an Atari, right? So my access to video games was limited, but also I had a mom and a dad that both were in computer science. Like, they both were computer science majors. So my exposure to video games, my exposure to computing as a whole, was beyond that of my peers by a lot. Right? Like, I had access to the internet before a lot of people. I had a cell phone before a lot of people. We were early adopters as a family. Do we have to have a video for how we feel about school being closed? Or can we write an iPhone note and then screenshot it and send it? Yeah, you can do whatever you want because there's no accountability. To be completely honest, Laura. Since I've been saying this since the very beginning of the school year, like, you're not going to get thwacked. Now you're not going to get thwacked in any class. All the classes have lost their thwackiness. Rumor has it that they're going to give credit to everybody, and it's just going to show up as this quarter you got credit. Oh, I'm hearing my voice. Somebody's not
I
muted.
think I got it.
It is. It's Kenna.
Yeah,
Kenna.
Hi.
Welcome to
Wait,
the party,
one more
Kenna.
out in the chat. That was a joke. That was a joke.
What's in the chat?
Never mind. Nothing. I didn't say anything. I said squat.
Hey, Kenna, I'm glad you're here.
Not updating.
Long time no see.
Guys.
I'm sorry that you're slowly
Very
going
happy,
insane.
Kenna.
I know. Oh, yeah, it's interesting.
Welcome to the party. We're all doing that.
I know. Oh, okay, it's all trippy because, like, my computer's delayed.
Hilarious.
I'm just trying to, I'm just gonna turn this down.
That's fair. Because, yeah, you're probably watching the stream at the same time, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which means you're going to get delayed on the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
what I
what
do
happens.
is I mute the videos. I mute the video of the stream and then I just like stay in the voice chat.
It's a one way to live.
I like hearing your guys' voices.
Kenna, what have you been doing with your life?
Nothing. Literally
Yeah, that's his
nothing.
quarantine.
I know. I miss everyone. I'm going crazy. I can't, like, being in the same house as my family for a week. I can't.
This has
Oh,
been
yeah.
a whole thing.
I feel. My
Gonna
family's
quit
not
teaching and
necessarily
start doing
bad, I'm
Minecraft
tired of
videos full
them.
time. You know, I'm teaching in the Minecraft videos. That's the trick.
Every single day at
that's
3,
taken
I get to
obvious.
escape.
Every single day 3.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, because it's when you start your live
Every
streams and I tell my mom
weekday.
it's class.
There we go. I'm glad. That's the best way to do this. And it has been. There's been a lot of educational opportunities. I made music,
I know. I'm glad I haven't missed it.
right? I'm glad you haven't either. It gives me a reason to actually do these things.
I was actually having a lot more fun before or McKenna join. So I mean,
Hi, Tommy. I miss you too.
Right?
let's all
Yeah.
let's all
Like,
accommodate for me, please.
Tommy, stop nagging Kenna.
It's okay. It's what Tommy and I do. We're just mean to each other.
Stop, what?
You guys know the term nagging?
Thought you said
I know
stop
nagging.
making kind of.
No. I don't know why I'm going to
Nagging
get into
sounds
this,
like
but since...
old speak.
No.
I know what you mean. I thought you said making.
No, nagging. Nagging is a term that is used in the pickup artist world, which is disgusting and chauvinistic.
What? Why are
My
you
brother explained
correlating
this
me
as,
with
like,
disgusting and chauvinistic?
Right.
I wasn't, Tommy. But it's a thing where, like, if you're trying to get somebody to like you, you treat
Nah,
them
no.
poorly.
Let's get off
Yeah,
this
you
topic.
belittle
Let's get
them
off
so
this
Alright.
time.
because of their ego.
Oh, I miss you guys.
What's a spectral arrow? What does it do?
It makes people glow,
Basically, it
but
makes
that's all.
people shiny. Yeah.
I shot somebody with it, and I was like, ooh, they're shiny now. And then they
What
died.
happens if
So kindergarten, exactly, Laura.
What happens if you hit something with it, like hit a monster?
They glow.
They
Yeah,
shine.
they'll glow. Yeah.
That way you don't
That's
lose
it.
them in the woods. You can be like,
I have
Just so
a
you know
bow,
where they are.
and I named it Gun. So that's what I've been doing. for the
going
past
around
couple
naming
You
things.
should have named it ceremonial block.
11.
hours. No, I have. Yeah, I have. The bow's named Gun. My sword is named. This is also a gun, but it's a sword. And then I have
Sword gun.
JoJo's Bizarre Pickaxe. And then I have This is just an axe. I just
This
got.
is just an axe.
JoJo's
my
bizarre
stuff.
pickaxe. Guys, I'm gonna be done with this thing, and then we're all gonna go race.
Don't teleport me.
Oh,
there, I
you're
swear,
building a
Mr.
racetrack. That made more sense.
I am building a
I
race
feel like
track.
it'd be fun.
I thought
It'd
you
be
were
a
trying to
fun
fill up the
little-
ocean with ice.
That would be a great way to fix global warming in this situation.
About to say
Sure,
that,
Jack.
monster.
Wait, Tommy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's see.
Blaze powder.
My Spanish class had a test Zoom class yesterday, and it was really refreshing. You liked it, Alora?
It fuels brewing stands. and can-
I am not a fan of Zoom because of the way that it uses personal data. But if you guys want to see each other's faces, we can do Zoom stuff. Look at this.
Yes, let's
I'm
do a
not,
Zoom.
I'm not making an account with Zoom.
See, there we go. Some people are just like full anti-Zoomers.
Don't even. Nobody give him credit for that. Come on. please.
Oh, now it's water.
I'll give him as much credit
Yeah,
as he
but
wants
you
because he
didn't
validates
tell
me
that part.
every day.
It's like a society. Let's not give Mr. Jackson any power.
So, Kenna, you've done absolutely nothing.
As a society, he already
no.
has the power.
I'm very sorry. Do you at least like go for walks?
No.
You don't even leave the house? Are you having to go back and forth between houses and stuff, or?
Yeah, it's week on, week off.
Oh, jeez.
That's what my.
It is lit.
I'm talking to
Armando.
Mr. Jackson and Blue and Tommy. It's Alana.
Oh, hey, Lana.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Alana. It's like class
That's what-
when you
That's
randomly
what my
pop in and
parents
say hi.
started.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my god, my family. Oh my god, my family.
They got loud and then it got quiet.
Oh, yeah, Jocelyn, I keep making TikToks because I'm so bored.
That is so funny. Did you see the TikTok video I made?
No, I haven't. What's your username?
Oh my gosh. It's Mr. Jackson LQHS. It is terrible.
Yeah. It's so bad, but I love it.
But there's also
Yeah.
a YouTube
Jackson,
video.
where are you?
I'm
But
over
he's
here on the
learning,
racetrack.
so it's okay.
You're working on the fast part?
Yeah.
Ken, I really wish that you were there for him learning TikTok dances because then you could like actually teach him considering
Yeah.
you both dance and use TikTok almost religiously.
I need input on how
I would've.
to be better at the TikToks.
I know.
There's
I'll teach you.
it's the Thursday video.
Yeah,
if
watch
you
the Thursday
check it
video
out
because
after
you'll
this.
see. I at least think the editing on that video was funny.
What
That
day
thing
is
was
it
really
today?
good. I enjoyed it.
It felt like I put in a
just-
lot more effort on that one.
I just
What
can't
day
help but
is
think
it?
about the fact
Your
that
TikTok keeps
you,
showing up on
you
my
got out
feed.
of bed to turn the camera on and then got back into bed or couch.
Yeah.
Right? That was a classic Casey Neistat move.
What day is it?
Promise I don't watch.
mom.
Casey
My
Neistat,
dad
so
is- was like, so what's wrong with Zoom? Yeah, Zoom is seriously messed up, and there's not really an alternative. It feels really sketchy. But like people don't want to use Hangouts, and
But TikTok's owned by the Chinese government.
it literally is.
Why is nobody talking about that? Why do we care about Zoom
Mondo, be
when
quiet.
one of our more mainstream
Our
things
nicest
is
Kim
literally
Jong.
owned by?
I completely agree, and a lot of people
Kim
are
Jong.
talking about how TikTok is owned by the Chinese government. It's just that we're getting less and less of that because the Chinese government will then go in and censor those things, right? But you can't censor Minecraft streams, Chinese government. Don't at me.
Yeah, they could.
As I'm like standing in front of an easily hackable webcam,
Well, don't say that. Don't
right?
give them ideas. There's no
You
need.
did
That'll
No.
give Colin ideas, dude. What are you talking
Exactly.
about?
Colin is the Chinese government? Question mark.
Armando, do you make TikToks? Can you teach me how to be a better
He
TikToker?
doesn't make TikToks. He watches his sister make TikToks.
That was the creepiest way of saying that. Thanks, Kenna.
No, but the thing is, that's such a really popular thing. I can always see that on my For You page, where it's like, oh, my sister and her
Sepsis,
friends are
what
trying
are
to
you
make TikToks and get
Don't be
followers.
weird, Tommy.
Tommy.
No, like, just be like, oh, and I'm just watching her eating toast. Let this blow up, and like, that doesn't make sense.
There's Miss Ely. Hi, Miss Ely.
Hi, Miss Ely.
Oh, they're
Hi,
saying
Miss
hi to you.
Eileen.
She can't hear you because she doesn't have headphones of her own.
Oh, she has
Hi,
headphones
guys.
on.
She did say hi.
Okay, well, we can hear her.
Yes,
The class misses her. You can
a whole
tell her
bunch of
that.
people are in the voice chat right now because I was lonely.
Mr. Jack! Oh my god.
Hey!
He says hey.
Hey, Kenna's mom.
He said hey, Kenna's mom. I watch you every day.
What are you doing?
That's very nice. I'm trying to build a racetrack.
Out of ice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you how it works.
I don't.
Hey, Mom, everyone on the live stream can hear you.
Yes, we can.
All
She's now
9
YouTube
people.
famous. That's how this works.
My mom watched us. She's like, oh.
Oh my.
All 9 students can hear you on the live stream.
Right? We get kind of a lot of views on it after the fact too. It's very scary to me.
Like,
So you
people
get, like-
watch the live streams
well,
after it's
yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did
People are
that last
tired.
night.
People are sleeping during the day.
I rewatched the first Minecraft live stream where you just started like
What was
screaming
that?
at me and then shouting obscenities at me, Mr. Jackson. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm glad I took that one down.
Yeah, everyone heard that. Good job, guys.
It sounds like you're being attacked by a pack of raptors. Are you
No,
okay over there, Kenna?
I am
Or
being
she
attacked
is a
by a
pack
pack
of
of raptors.
She is a pack of raptors. Did you say hi to Jocelyn?
I waved.
Okay.
Oh my god, my
I asked them about
I'm
Destiny.
sorry.
Miss Ely, what are your views on Destiny?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot like that.
I did.
So this is the destiny assignment, whether we can change our destiny or whether or not we believe in destiny.
Yes.
I think if I believed in destiny, I believe that we would be able to change your destiny. But I don't know if I believe in destiny.
What about the
Wow,
context that
paradox,
you're in? How does your context shape who you are? And is context not a form of destiny? This is like the really boring version of Hot Ones.
Why don't eat
The
chicken?
hot ones.
So with hot wings and even hotter questions with the host Sean Evans.
Yeah.
That will be starring Thami.
All right, while you're
Remember
thinking
when I
about
had
this
a
question, I
conversation-
want to give you a
the
second
things are
question to
coming after
consider.
me.
What is
Ah.
negging? And have you ever been negged?
No. Let's not.
I don't know what it is. Is it when you nag?
Tommy's very uncomfortable. Negging is
I am
when you
uncomfortable.
try to pick up somebody by treating them poorly.
Oh, don't
I
do
don't
that.
treat McKenna poorly.
Well,
She treats
oh, he
me
likes
just
you
as
because he
poorly.
pulls your
Pulls your
pigtails.
pigtails, yeah. That's Alora's so kindergarten. That was in reference to negging.
Got it.
Did that help you to better understand how context shapes destiny? No, that
I
was a
think,
distraction.
I don't know, chance. I mean, like, it's chance that I have in my specific content, but I guess, like, chance and destiny, I don't know. I think it might be the same thing.
Is there any way that you could become an astronaut? Missy?
Yes. Someone
No,
who's
I tried.
a lot of money.
That was my dream. I wanted to be a firefighter and an astronaut.
And why didn't that work out?
I have bad eyesight and I get nauseous on merry-go-rounds.
How is that not destiny? What did you do to make that happen?
To make my nausea?
Yeah, to make you nauseous or to make you have bad eyesight. Wasn't that stuff that you were born with?
Yeah. So chance, genetics.
Yeah, chance is a form of destiny, right? You have a lower probability of going to the moon, all because of those things and because of the time in which you were born. 100 years from now, maybe that wouldn't be a problem. 100 years from now, maybe they'd be like, hey, we got spaceships that don't require you to be having good eyesight or to not be nauseous.
A higher refresh rate on the screen.
Yes. Higher refresh rate so you're not getting nauseous.
She ate like a grilled cheese before getting onto the thing.
Freaking skeletons.
I don't know. I just feel like Destiny is kind of one big cop out for like.
Well, now I don't know.
This, but like Destiny made me do it, so I guess.
Ooh.
Tommy, you're super quiet.
Our
It's
dog
a
is
Gemini.
It's always like it's either Tommy's echoing or he's too quiet.
So the idea that destiny is a cop-out, right? I think I should play 2K with you, Armando. I think that
No,
for the
don't give
most
him that
part...
satisfaction.
Are you nagging Armando?
Yes.
So I think for the most part, the way that we use destiny is to simply say, well, my hands are tied. The idea that like, my horoscope, right? You guys have seen the meme that was like, horoscope girls be like, I just ran you over with my car, but don't worry, it's because I'm a TikTok, right? Like, and you're sitting there like, you don't just get to write off your terrible behaviors on destiny or based off of the fact that you were born at a certain time. Like, right? We still have to hold people accountable even if we don't know their context.
Yeah, Mr. Jackson, are you the one to be talking about the abuse of horoscopes? Because you call me a crybaby like every other day.
I did not call you a crybaby. I called you a cancer. I called you a cancer, and you inferring that cancers are crybabies.
No.
I did call you a Hufflepuff as well.
I'm not though. That's the funny part is you're
Tommy, you have to
slandering.
accept the fact that you're a
The
cancer.
funny part is you are.
How? In what? We're not getting into this. No.
Destiny.
Because you get angry really fast, but you can't do anything about it. So you just.
Mr. Jackson's destiny. is
Then your
to turn
voice gets
students
all high
into-
pitched.
It
Yeah.
does get high pitched. I've gone past that point. I'm not.
Tommy.
Alora made a really
You
good
have
point
not
talking
gone
about
past
the
that
TikToks where they show up and they say like, you're going to fall in love with somebody with this letter name. There was a really good video by, who is it? I'll post it tonight. There's a really good video that was going into that where it was a guy trying to become TikTok famous. So he recreated all of those types of videos. And he was like, well, if I'm going to do it, then the trick is I should use the most common first letters of a name, right? Like, and then that way the most amount of people will do it. And then he looked them up and they were the exact same as the ones that everyone else was already using.
I'm not gonna be different.
So the idea of
Everyone's saying that
probability,
J names.
right? The idea of probability or chance playing a role in how we view whether or not the world is intentional, right? So there's one thing to say, maybe I'm stuck in a situation that I don't want. That's one form of destiny. You're stuck in a situation that you have no control over because of random chance, right? Then there's the other form of destiny, which is now something is going to happen because there is some sort of divine author, there's some sort of other power that makes things happen, right? That would be called predestination. Do you guys believe that there is predestination, that there is things that were going to happen in the future for you, whether or not you have any say about it?
See, the thing about predestination is if
No.
God created predestination, it's kind of screwed up. Like, to have
back to
someone
this. Oh,
like
God.
not be able to control what their destiny is, and then be like, well, guess what? You're not like you don't.
You're a
you
psychopath.
born, but
You
like
murdered 5
if
people.
you do this, you're also gonna go to hell. So guess what? That's a catch-22.
You're actually
It's like the
referring to
whole
some of the
thing-
things that are really common within the Christian belief of Calvinism. So you guys know from history the idea of Calvin and Luther.
Yeah.
So Calvin, one of his big things, he had these things, 5 points of Calvinism. They spell the word tulip, which is total depravity, basically means everybody sucks no matter what. Unconditional election, meaning that you are picked by God and you didn't do anything to earn it. Limited atonement, which means that only a certain number of people are picked by God. And, I forgot what I is, right? And then perseverance of the saints, which just means that if you are chosen by God to go to heaven, you are going to go to heaven, period. So in this idea of Calvinism, there's the predestination belief, which is essentially God makes people to send to hell on purpose.
Oh.
Right? And if
Sounds
that
like something.
Kind of weird, champ. TV.
if that is a truth, there's lots of people who believe that. Calvinism is one of the most popular forms of evangelical Christianity. So there's lots of people who believe that predestination is a serious thing, and that people basically are born to be sent to hell.
Jocelyn.
Hey, Jocelyn. And that some people are born to be sent to heaven, and that's just the way God wants it, so everything's good. Right? Which brings us into some bigger questions of what's referred to as theodicy. Theodicy is the idea that if God is all good and all powerful, but evil exists, then God is evil. And if God is evil, then God can't be good, therefore he can't be all good, all powerful, and have evil exist.
That's what I subscribe to.
Well, the issue of theodicy is one that theologians wrestle with all the time. So you can have all sorts of different beliefs and have different perspectives on theodicy. Not the Odyssey, theodicy. I should spell it
I
out.
thought you were talking about the book.
Theodicy. Theodicy.
See,
Oh, I feel stupid now.
What's this thing about piercing and
What did I
hair dyeing?
miss?
I'm
What?
talking about someone getting upset about getting piercings and dyeing your hair.
Oh yeah, apparently Mr. Miller is not okay with people dyeing their hair and getting their body pierced because genetics? Do you want to go into
Also,
greater
I'm
detail
okay
about
with
this?
the
Yeah,
people
he didn't say anything about my green hair last year.
Can I rant about Mr. Miller really quick and how he embarrassed me in front of my entire first period class?
Does it
Can
have
we
to
talk
do
about
with
this?
what Alora has already brought up? Because I really want to understand what Alora was saying.
What
And
is
I'm having
Alora
trouble
again?
building my racetrack because I keep getting distracted by Blue. Hi, Blue.
I
Running on top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what did Alora suggest?
Why
He
did
doesn't
someone
believe that
dislike
people
the
should alter their
video?
DNA. That Mr. Miller doesn't believe that altering your DNA is good, so you shouldn't dye your hair or pierce yourself.
I was
Yeah, but
just
that's
gonna
not
say
altering
that
your
Mr.
DNA.
Miller bullied me about being insecure, about asking questions, and he
Yes.
brought that up in front of the entire class, which was a lot of fun. Really love that teacher, man. He's amazing to me.
You had told me about that situation. We all make mistakes. I think Mr. Miller is a great guy, but I know that some of those situations happen, and I'm not always the best teacher. But with
the
that,
whole changing your DNA thing. Last year we had Socratic seminar in English
mhm.
about genetically modified in bio. Wait, what? Was it in bio? Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
it was in
I think
bio.
it was in bio.
Basically, it was a talk about eugenics and genetically altering your child to give them the best chance at life.
So
oh, have you guys seen the movie Gattaca?
Yep. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
we
I
watched
watched
it.
it.
So Gattaca has a lot of themes about destiny as well, right? Like one person is born with imperfect DNA, so they're not able to do the thing that they strive to do, right? Another person is born with perfect DNA. So does that mean that their life is now filled with perfection? Is their life better because they have more opportunity?
Isn't there a Black Mirror episode like that?
Yeah, there are lots of Black Mirror episodes about that sort of stuff. Wait. I'll just hop on the voice thing because explaining over chat is just a mess. Yeah, Laura, that would be great. Lovely. And then, we're not talking about Mr. Miller, anymore? Never mind. We
Yes, we
are.
are.
Definitely.
Oh,
When you all almost
Like,
kissed. That's what
Tommy
I'm
and Mr.
confused
Miller
by.
almost kissed.
What? Wait, what? Hold
I thought
on.
that's what Jocelyn was talking
Right?
Oh my
Jocelyn-
god, yeah, we did almost kiss.
Okay.
Oh my god, Mr. Miller
Why is it?
hunched
Why
down
is
right
it cool?
next to me because he was complaining about my grades. Sorry, I'm yelling in my own house. It sucks.
Do you know him to
But he just
What?
kneeled down next to me because I didn't turn in one of my homework assignments, and he was like, "Maybe Tommy, you should
Yeah,
turn in
the clock
anything."
is
And he got
on.
really close to my face. I could just sense his neck beard rubbing up against my arm.
His neck beard.
That is not how kissing works.
It was close.
What, you're telling me you don't just rub
Tommy wouldn't
cheeks?
know.
What?
Tommy wouldn't know.
I'm doing it all wrong.
And I'm stealing my joke.
Why is it always just make fun
Yeah,
of
you're just
Tommy
listening to
time?
them
That's
talk
what I
and
want to
not
know.
doing anything.
Because you get
I
so
am
mad.
trying to build
Mr.
my race
Jackson.
car.
But Tommy
Easy.
time is the best time.
We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. I can feel it.
Yeah, you're almost there.
You only have a couple minutes.
Yeah, I only have a couple minutes.
Behind you.
Is it like right there behind
It's
me?
like really, really close.
Boom.
Yeah.
Jackson,
Yep.
are you destined to finish this?
Is this the last one?
Are you destined to finish it?
No, I think that, so there's two different aspects of destiny, right? There's what you are given, which you might refer to as fate, the things that you can't control that are, you monster.
Let
Drink
me get
milk.
in, Mr. Jackson.
Oof. Oh, I should give you one, shouldn't I? Hit the-
No, I'm gonna get in.
Oh, we can have two people in
Yeah.
a boat?
Oh,
What's
Yes.
that all about? Okay.
Oh, cute.
a boot.
We're adorable.
Stop
Oof.
taking my accent.
Are adorable.
Oof.
No, I went to Minnesota and I like developed an accent, and Tommy could not stop bugging me about it for like the rest of the summer.
Armando, if
I-
you want in on this server, all you have to do is go into the description of last night's stream.
No, don't let him join.
Ugh, I cannot make this turn.
I've been watching Tiger King, and my
Andrew.
grandma is vaguely Midwestern and Southern. So I've already been exposed to the dialect, and then watching Tiger King, binging it is just making me go Texas.
I actually finished this, Brianna. Aren't you impressed? I'm impressed. Boom. It is done.
What are you doing?
I'm on a racetrack.
Whoa.
See, I feel like a good addition to this would be like trying to round out the corners more, so you're not just hitting and then
I
going.
completely agree. I just don't know how. All right.
Hunter, where is
Do you know?
Alright, so, like-
Do you know how to use exponent? Because yes, that sounds weird, but like, oh my god, I've done so many like making circles is just a lot easier when you can just do like 1, 2, 4, 8,
Hi,
16.
Tristan. Oh, you just put a hole in my wall.
Okay, that was weird.
Sorry, the baby just came in my room and put a hole in my wall.
Also,
Hilarious.
Tommy, even I don't know. You'll have to find it. So far, it's just like a platform. Mr. Jackson says I need to get a new monitor because I get nauseous when I play Minecraft now. And I think that's just because I don't play on computers a lot. But he
You're not a
says the
gamer,
refresh rate.
so.
I am not a gamer. It makes me like makes me
God
sad.
damn it,
Please, like,
Jackson,
all
now I'm
of
gonna
it.
die. Okay.
All right.
Sorry,
Well,
I said goddamn.
you guys are all awesome. I have to go pick up my kiddos. I will see you all tonight.
Wait.
What? Oh, the picture?
Yeah. Wait, I forgot I can talk. I'm like typing as fast as I can.
Yeah, you gotta hurry up. Oh man, there are definitely bats around here.
Those are phantoms.
Okay, they look like bats to me.
Okay, I figured it out.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take the picture, and then I have to go, but you guys can keep chatting. Because I have to go pick up my kids.
Okay.
But I'm glad you figured it out,
Amazing.
Alora.
Yeah, I know. It's like I haven't been
Tommy,
on
are
here
you
a
in
few days.
creative?
No, I'm not. I just had to teleport back to my house because Mr. Jackson is so insolent and he doesn't respect anyone else's boundaries that he just
Mr.
doesn't
Jackson,
even-
can
Oh
you
my
give me
god! Jesus
Oh,
Christ!
Mr. Jackson,
Oh,
can
I'm
you
gonna
give me
kill
my
you.
spectral arrows?
you were asking for it, Tommy.
I wasn't.
See you, Jocelyn.
Oh my god.
Okay. Have you taken the pic yet?
Yeah, I already took it.
Okay, you're awesome. I gotta
What's
go.
up? Mr. Jackson, don't go! You
Wait,
have my
Mr.
stuff.
Jackson, wait.
No, I don't.
Wait, Mr.
It's
Jackson.
right over there.
Just stay AFK.
Mr. Jackson, yes, you do. Here, I have a bunch of your stuff, Tommy.
Okay, yeah, that's why we don't do this crap,
That is
Mr.
the test.
Jackson.
I'm
About
gonna
to
do it
die.
again.
I'm about.
I'm gonna do it again.
Then
Mr.
I
Jackson,
think
can
I
you
do
give
this,
me my
like,
spectral arrows?
I don't seem to actually have those.
Mr. Jackson,
will-
it's because you're not going to inventory. You're in the creative menu. Go
No,
to
no,
the little
you-
chest.
Bruh, you
No,
don't
you
even
have the
know what's
chest.
up. You don't even know what's up.
Oh, mhm.
Yeah,
I'm
the
throwing
teenagers who
literally
spend all the time
everything
on the
that's in my
computer don't know
inventory,
how to
none of
use-
which was yours.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have the what's it called? The spectral arrows.
Hey, come into my house.
Where?
I am emptying my inventory of all my baked potatoes.
I think you can just do like click Q, click Q, click Q, or shift Q.
Oh. Shift Q.
Coming into my house, right?
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Oh, it does one at a
But,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, this works.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what's up, Brianna. I don't know what's up. But there, I gave you all the stuff. Now I have to go. I gotta go pick up my kids. You guys are awesome.
All right.
Something, something.
More.
Wait.
Bye, Mr. Jackson.
We gotta come up with a good sign-off that ends with quack.
I really like that you just had something and then you don't anymore.
I
And I
know.
really like
It
that
was-
you
you
don't
had a
have
good,
it anymore.
solid
I think
one.
that's like the
Yeah, it was
best
good.
outro.
Something, something, yell quack. All right, guys, quack. Quack.
Quack.
Wait, let me type it in. Let me type it in.
Quickity quack. I'm addicted to quack.
Oh, that just doesn't sound great.
And that's why
See you,
you're
Laura.
vegan?
Bye.